They used to call the Colt 45, the old Western Colt 45, the great equalizer, because the guy that weighed 300 pounds and was 7 feet tall, you know what? It didn't matter if you were 5'2" and weighed 100 pounds. Boom! The old Colt
right.
45 dropped the guy.
And peace was
Everybody
made.
should be armed. As a matter of fact, Patrick Henry said the great obligation of men and the great duty is for everyone to be armed. If everybody was armed and we were able to carry them.
Our government in our state is trying to make everybody a felon.
Yes.
So they cannot own firearms.
You can't,
Right.
the problem is you can't enslave, totally enslave, to really the kind of degree that they really want to, an armed populace. It doesn't work. That's what they always talk about. They talk about the Second Amendment is for hunting. Guess what? The Second Amendment was written by a bunch of guys who went and got their own cannon and their own Kentucky long rifles, and they went out and they shot at government officials. Okay? Remember that. That is what the Second Amendment is about.
And aside from drawing that analogy, if you actually, I don't know, do something insane like read what those people said and why they did it, you'll find that that's why they did it. John, I'm actually, what's the general stance of the Independent American Party on gun ownership and gun rights?
Wow, I'm surprised it has to be verberated. We are pro right to bear arms in the Independent American Party, and in fact, I believe that it is interpreted literally. It says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Now, does infringed have any exceptions that you can think of? Let's say the size of the barrel.
No. Why would it? Why would Chris said that our founding fathers owned cannons.
They did. They had cannons.
And in those days, you could own a cannon, which was an artillery piece. It was the big gun, the most powerful gun of the day. The government itself had no stronger gun, really, and you could own one privately.
Well, what if he'd gotten in a fight one time and he got his gun taken away from him? Would that have been fair?
Well, the difference is if a gun is taken away from you after. Your status changes when you live in a society because we have a society of sovereigns. And what occurs is when you've done something to hurt someone, things can be taken away from you if you've violated the laws and the treaties that effectively you've brought yourself into.
That's what I'm saying. The government is using that to take it away from the back door.
The problem is they're also doing it preemptively too. It's like, well, we got to take this away before you hurt someone. Which is
what I love is a lady slaps her husband across the face. Her husband calls the police. And they make it so the woman can no longer have a gun.
Well, I'm surprised they didn't make the man so he couldn't have one.
Well, no, because the man didn't hit her. Now,
yeah,
if the
but
man
I don't know.
hit the wife,
Have you ever dealt with the Las Vegas police?
The man that would hit the wife,
would go down.
The man that would hit the wife, same thing, and they're taking him away. In fact, if you get in a fight with your son, let's say your son is 17 years old and he wants to go out drinking, and you punch him to keep him from going out and killing himself.
After he probably throws a punch at you, because I don't know about you, but I've met a few 17-year-olds of my age who were way too happy. Like, hey, puberty, I got muscles now. I can throw these.
I can fight back against Dad. They can take your guns away. They take away guns for somebody that smoked marijuana. They take away guns for somebody that had a car accident because they were drinking. These have nothing to do with violent crimes. I can understand taking a gun away from somebody because they're a felon because they committed a
bank robberies and
a bank robbery, a violent crime. No, hey, a bank robbery can be done without being violent.
But let's say, armed robbery, assault.
Armed robbery. You do those kind of things.
Murder.
Okay.
I can understand that there,
but those other ones are ridiculous. We really need to change our laws and felonies anyway. Putting people in prison for 99 years, to me, is cruel and unusual punishment. We have to completely look at our system and do something that's not going to breed more criminals, which our current system is breeding more criminals. We have more people in prison in the United States per capita than China does, by about 4 to 1.
With an extremely high rate of recidivism.
Yes.
Well, California, they let baby rapers out. And,
they let the baby rapers out and keep a guy that was smoking grass in.
Well, it actually gets worse if you look at the federal level, the main area they'll come at. It does. You went and chainsawed 15 nuns, they'll broker a deal with you. But you oppose the IRS. Oh no!
Now you're going down
for some time. That's a felony, so you can't hold a gun to protect yourself no more.
I understand. I don't believe in those laws, and I believe that they ought to be. I believe that people who have served their time in prison should be able to have their rights restored very soon after, depending on what the crime is. If you've committed a heinous, violent crime, well, you probably lost your rights forever, as far as I'm concerned. But
if you make one mistake, should you not be able to vote?
Well,
for one mistake?
One mistake?
Well, it depends on.
I don't like it.
I was gonna say it depends on the mistake because it's one thing to put make a typo, that's a mistake, but to blow someone's head off, a little bit different.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, smoked marijuana, a cigarette.
Oh.
It's hard for me to even call that a mistake.
That you didn't know was there or what have you.
I agree.
Should you lose all your rights for that?
No, you shouldn't. I think that it's ridiculous and it needs. But not only that, if you do lose your rights, there are ways. For example, a friend of mine who just defended Wesley Snipes is an ex-felon, and he got all his rights restored. And his good friend also had his rights restored. So I think what they need to do is make it so that it's easier to get your rights restored, that you don't have to go through a lawyer and spend a lot of money. That you ought to be able to have that. And if you've been able to prove yourself, look, I've been working for 5 years. I've been doing these things. I'm a good guy. I haven't hung up any squirrels and bled them to death over a 16-hour period. Things like that. Okay.
What exactly is the test for determining whether someone has done that or not?
I don't know. But you're right. I think it's wrong.
I think the biggest problem. I think the biggest problem is not the specifics of this. The problem is we have an authoritarian state that's out of control.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem.
I used to be in total support of the death penalty, and now our judicial system is so corrupt, I no longer support the death penalty because I don't believe that it can be trusted. I just received an interesting article today, which said that lawyers in Europe would rather and would feel that there would be a more fair trial in China than there would be in the United States of America.
Well, of course, they've been saying for years, if you want justice, go out to the cat house.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it is really awful the way our judicial system is. I believe that probably the ones who shouldn't be allowed to vote or have a job probably are judges. I mean, that's what we're looking at.
It's a shame that it goes to their head and all.
It's awful.
But I heard on the lawyer show last night, they said that they could get the felony taken off your record.
They can.
Still could not own a firearm.
Well, that's wrong. Because I know that my friends are ex-felons and they both own firearms. So there are some places you can't.
A lot of felons walk around with firearms, but
yeah.
Well, it also depends on what nutty
Well, that's
state
the other
you live
thing.
in.
A lot of felons do walk around with firearms.
All right,
those kind of laws
we're
don't
coming
keep
up on a
people.
break here in just a second.
Okay, guys, you guys have a
Thanks
good
for
one.
calling in.
Hey, thanks.
We'll see you after the break. Welcome back. We've switched guests. We have Mike Ravelin on with us. He's going to talk a little bit about guns, which was a popular topic on the last break. And after we're done with that, I will award my prestigious Jackass of the Week award.
We didn't even plan that. That was a pretty good lead-in, wasn't it?
That's right.
Okay, go ahead, Mike.
Okay, I've been out here 16 years in Pahrump Valley, and I've met a lot of people, a lot of good people. That's why I love the valley out here. It's a lot different than living in Vegas or anywhere else. And everyone that I've talked to, my age and older, it seems to be of the same mindset that I am right now, is that we see a threat coming from D.C., and we've seen it for a long time. We know what way this country is going to pursue itself, no matter who we elect on the D side or the R side. It's pathetic who we have running for office right now.
What do you mean? We've got Hillary Clinton,
Oh, my
Barack
God.
Obama, and John McCain. What's wrong with
John
you?
McCain, great conservative, he will save us. Okay, sorry.
I was expecting this.
Actually, I see your point.
Well, I wouldn't. Well, okay.
I want to point out that Mike, for any of you who don't like us being out here, like on the show at all, you can blame this guy. Like he had a lot to do with us being in your
I'll
face.
take the blame for that.
That's true, Mike.
Absolutely. And anybody that knows me out there knows that I am responsible for these two guys.
That's right, he is. His fault.
As it were, is this. How does the sound of Pahrump Patriots, Nye County Militia sound to you people out there that would like to be in this organization? I think there's a lot of us out there, at least the guys that I've talked to out there, that realize what's coming down the pike. I myself feel fear. I don't rely on anything that's coming down as far as elections go. I know the Independent American Party, I've been in there for 20 years. I've seen those people are the only ones that I've seen any kind of progressive elemental positive movement to anything that accomplishes anything. The R's and D's, they're in the septic tank.